We're so impressed with what LBD does and how it's integrated within the entire culture at Watermark.
It was looking at leadership from a much more holistic, a broader human perspective. And that was something that I was really trying to develop through this concept of integrative leadership.
LBD provides a lot of the fundamental building blocks for developing a resilient and joyful and generous life experience for individuals, as well as creating tools for communicating.
It's kind of a philosophical way to look at life and work.
We've talked to people about, are you a resident-centered company? Are you a, investor-centered company? What's your center? And, I would say that without doubt we are a employee or an associate-centered company. The people that we work with are with our residents. They touch our residents. They provide the great service, the great care. So, and Dave and I believe that if you take great care of your associates, they'll in turn take great care of your residents, which will fill up your buildings, which will take great care of your investors.
What really struck me is that it seemed like it was dealing with a lot of human interpersonal issues that most companies don't touch.
The intent of leadership by design is to work with a series of distinctions that allow people to generate breakthroughs. So the first definition of a breakthrough is to bring something new into existence that has a profound impact on you or the organization.
What a refreshing idea that we have all kinds of opportunities to have breakthroughs.
The other definition that I love around breakthroughs, the second definition, is a well-managed set of breakdowns.
The breakdowns have to exist. You will never have a breakthrough without maybe a ton of breakdowns.
What does breakdown mean to you?
It's negative.
It's
negative.
negative.
You failed.
Yeah, see, you fail, right? I've got a breakdown. I'm either not a good manager, not a good person. It's failure. It's really interesting that, as somewhere along the line, I don't know when it started, but we've been trained that breakdowns are bad.
It's not a negative. It's safe to declare it and then look for the opportunities to improve it.
If my perception, my perspective, and I'm demonstrative about it, is, God, breakdowns are bad. What the hell are we doing? And Kelly has a breakdown. What is she going to do with it?
She's not going to.
What's the last thing she's going to do with it? Bring it to me, right? You better be open to, in fact, breakdowns better be present. See, if they're not present, what do you think's going on?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Certainly not breakthroughs.
It creates a new future for the company. So if you don't have that breakthrough, if you don't take that chance or get over that hump, that whatever you've gotten to wouldn't have existed.
Draw a series of 9 dots. Like that.
First of all, to start out and have the president of the company there greeting you, and as the training opened up, I'm thinking, okay, he's just here for the morning.
Connect all 9 dots, 4 straight lines. Don't lift your pen or pencil off the paper.
Then I find out that no, he's the one that is actually leading the training. So this is really serious. This is a big deal in this company, and this is a huge investment.
Day one is a lot of getting, there's probably 20 different distinctions that we go through, and so we spend most of day one getting those distinctions out on the table, have some sort of access to them so they can actually sit there and say, oh, okay, I understand what that means, I understand what that means. What did we do?
Assumed we couldn't go past the dot.
We added a 4th silent instruction, right? We assumed we couldn't go outside the box.
As many times as we've gone through it, or many times as we've actually taught it, you learn something every time. You have those moments, the aha moment, and no one's immune from falling victim to any of the things that we talk about.
The breakthrough lives outside this context that you placed on it yourself.
And in fact, that's one of the principles, is that we don't tell people that we want them to avoid these things. We just want them to recognize when you're in that moment. Because we're all going to be there. That's just how we're humans.
And so it was interesting to me just to see how I started using distinctions. And one of the things that was easiest for me to start with was managing conversations.
Speaking and listening. There's nothing else in our toolkits
that we have to lead.
For us, it really is two things, speaking and listening. There are a number of things that can impact the speaking and listening that would impede us from really hearing what someone's telling us, or it may impede how we're responding in a situation.
Somebody comes to you and they're, talking to you about something, it could be anything, and you already are generating an answer in your head before you're actually listening to everything that they have to say.
We're always listening for evidence to support our position.
David asked if any of us are in a right-wrong conversation. And, one of the distinctions we talk about with that is what we have to pay to be right. And that could be relationship, love, money, jobs, happiness, all kinds of things. And for me, I absolutely could have rattled off all 4 of those easily by a loss of relationship with a sibling because I was committed to being right. So right then and there, during our break, he made me call my sister.
You can get a right-wrong conversation and make it about the other person, or you can sit there and say, you know what, I'm committed to having my speaking and listening at the highest, most effective level.
Because it's easy to see flaws in someone else, or they did me wrong, or just looking at that relationship and understanding that I have a huge impact on that.
And then one of my favorite parts is the homework assignment at the end of day 1 is to write a letter to someone you care about and explain what day 1 was about for you. So on day 2, we start off by having each individual, they read the letter that they wrote to someone who they care about and kind of explaining what day 1 was all about.
My letter was to PK. Those in the company know who that is. That's myself. That is perfect Kelly. And that's the, the mind doing the, not nice things sometimes to me. It really is my favorite part of the whole LBD experience because what typically happens is, people can, personalize this and really, if it resonates with them, they'll usually take it to a very personal place. And it's not unusual for people to get emotional. Today I participated in a leadership training. In which I'm continuing my understanding of the conversations we have.
The action step was the most challenging because of fear of not being able to complete. What I said I would do.
Sadly, those qualities have been driving who I've been for a long time. Apathetic, cynical, shut down, judgmental. And that's been the filter through which I've been living in our marriage and life. The good news is that I will have a new set of tools to give me the ability to recognize those qualities when they show up and re-examine what I'm truly committed to.
My experience is it really kind of opens up the room, and the whole room dynamics change from me facilitating to a group really discussing these things and how they can apply it to their own lives.
Today is the beginning to a new path in life, so hopefully you'll share that with me.
You love it. And then day 3, which is a half a day, we do one more exercise, and then the price of admission is you have to make a breakthrough declaration. So people have to stand up and say, here's what I'm committed to accomplishing as a result of going through this program.
Revamped the DNR process in 2015, so by 12/31.
I remember the really powerful story, and I can't remember the fellow's name, who was the maintenance director, who his sort of racket was, I can't make a difference, I'm just the maintenance director. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And then he took on, by the end of the 2 or 3 day training, that project to reduce utility costs by, what was it, $3,000 or $4,000 a month? Mm-hmm. And then he ended up partnering with TEP. And if you recall, that was not only big from the perspective that he accomplished the $5,000 a month savings, but also the difference that it made in him. Coming from the place of I'm just a maintenance director to I'm really part of this team, I'm capable of making these kind of impassioned and strong commitments, and he just changed.
Again, you get to see people, really struggle with trying to figure out what that's going to be and what's valuable, and so we do a lot of coaching during that process. What's the point of this program? Breakthroughs. The whole point of this program is for you as an individual to be able to, by design, using these distinctions, generate breakthroughs.
We can choose to create a more resilient and positive life experience. It takes developing the ability to do so, it takes practicing it, and then eventually it becomes a fundamental part of your makeup.
You have a culture that really looks out for people, and it starts at the leader level, where the leaders are authentic in their communication, their dealings with people, and the employees feel that. And the employees are authentic in their communications in dealing with the residents. Now you've got a beautiful symbiotic culture here.
My experience with it, having gone through it, 40 or 50 times, was the more I practiced, there was this shift from, having these tools to actually having being part of how I manage and how I lead. That's the intent, and I've been working with this material for 24 years, and I work every day at continuing to master it.
That change within me changed those people out there. Not because they changed, but because I changed.